I got a PR kit from NYX, which includes the Love You So Mochi palette in Sleek and Chic, the highlighting palette in Lit Life, and 4 Powder Puff Lippies. I also bought the Arcade Glam highlighting palette just because I think this will flatter my skin tone more. Can you guess which highlighters and lipstick I'm using? Don't cheat, just put your answers in a comment and I'll tell you if you got it right at the end of the video. Anyway, so I waited until I've tried this for about a week so I can give my review. Before I do my review, let's get on with the swatches. For the face swatches of the highlighters, I shall be applying them with a beauty blender instead of a brush because let me show you what happened when I applied them with a brush. Okay, so first let's start with the Lit Life palette, which I think is too dark for me, but let's see how it goes. First up, the peach. I was really struggling to get the highlighter on my brush. Is it just me or is the color not showing up? Like, I have a metallic sheen, but the color is not really showing up on my face. So that's the peach. Let's put the gold on the other side. Okay, this is like super chunky, kind of like a slightly less chunkier version of Trophy Wife, but it is still very shiny and I look like a robot. Let me zoom up close so you can take a look at what I'm talking about. Ooh. Oh. Ah. So now let's compare the pink from Glam Arcade and Lit Life. This is from Lit Life. And this is from Arcade Glam. Oh my gosh, I've been calling it Glam Arcade all the time because I've been reading the French version. Oops, I'm so sorry. I think I've already made a mistake during filming. I'll try to edit it out. If I can't, oops. Initially, I thought that the gold may be a dupe for a Trophy Wife, but after swatching them together, I realized it's not a close dupe at all. Let me show you a comparison of Trophy Wife and this palette. So this is Trophy Wife, and this is the gold from Lit Life. So Trophy Wife is a bit more metallic and has a bit more of a greenish tinge. So after swatching it, it looks like they're not exact dupes. They look very different actually. But if you ask me which one I prefer as a highlighter, I'm gonna go with Lit Life, even though I still think it's not that flattering because Trophy Wife is just so opaque and dark and the glitter is so huge that while it looks really great as an eyeshadow, as a highlighter, I can see every pore and it's not a good look. Okay, so it's review time. So out of the two palettes I got, Arcade Glam and Lit Life, Arcade Glam is definitely more flattering on me. Lit Life does have this peach shade that looks really good on me. It looks like a natural blush with some highlight that catches in the light. Unfortunately, the other two is too bright for my skin tone, so they end up looking like I'm putting eyeshadow on my face. As I mentioned, these do look better applied with a beauty blender because with a brush, I just couldn't get enough of the pigment out. It's just because of the whole mochi formula where everything's sticky. So when I'm applying it with my brush, it's hard to get the pigment out, number one, and I do get sometimes huge chunks that get stuck on a brush and streaks on my face. So the best result is definitely with a beauty blender. Then again, even with a beauty blender, because the glitter is a bit more chunky and more metallic looking, it's not the most flattering highlight NYX has. I do prefer the duochromatic illuminating powders because this, while it looks good on camera, I'm gonna admit it looks really good on camera, it does look slightly metallic and robotish in real life. What I like to do to sometimes tone down the metallicness is to apply it underneath my blush instead of over it, and that way my blush does have a hint of sheen, but it doesn't look too metallic. It's just a very healthy looking sheen. Now that we're on to the Mochi formula, yeah, do I like it or not? Is it worth it or not? Is this a gimmick? So of course everybody wants to know, do they bounce? And they do. Like, look, it's super bouncy, like every single one of them. See? You can actually squash them. Same goes for the highlighters. So yeah, they're super squishy. It is cute, like really cute. I do like squishing it. Like, I really, really like squishing it. I do think it's slightly gimmicky. One of the good sides of the whole Mochi formula is that you don't need to use primer. My arm swatches were done with completely no primer at all. And the eyeshadow look I'm using right now, which is also with the Mochi palette, is done without any primer. So if you'd like to save a step in your routine and you don't want to use primer at all, this is it. It's great. And also another positive side of the Mochi formula, if you accidentally crack your eyeshadow, it's easy to just like, you know, bounce it back into place and heal your eyeshadow. So it's great for that. On the downside, applying it with a brush is a pain. As you can see from the highlighters, same thing with the eyeshadow, it's hard to get an even layer on your brush and it sometimes does chunk up, and because you get one big chunk of pigment, it streaks. So you do have to be more careful. I get the best results applying with my fingers, but I know some of you don't enjoy applying makeup with your fingers. But if you do enjoy applying your makeup with your fingers, this is really the best formula out there. I guess whether it's worth it or not for you, it depends on your preference on how you like to apply your makeup. If you're like me and you prefer applying it with brushes, you may not like this formula so much, but if you prefer smudging it with your fingers, then I think you'll like this formula. One thing that surprised me a bit with this palette is that while the colors look really different in a palette, when I swatch it, quite a few colors look very similar, and when I'm applying on my eyes, they look similar enough that unless you're using like a really good camera doing macro photography, it doesn't really make much of a difference. So I feel like this palette could do with more variety in colors, but that's just me. That's my personal preference. It is also a very sparkly and metallic palette. It only has one matte shade, and because it's so sparkly and so metallic that it's kind of hard to blend the edges smooth. You do get some like chunkiness, but that's expected out of metallic and high shimmer palettes. So I'm not too disappointed, but that is something to look out for if you prefer a more sheer sort of look. This is really for high drama, very metallic sort of looks. As for the lips, so applying this is really like a dream. It's really great for creating that soft Korean petal lips kind of look. And the petal lips look is like, basically think of a flower petal, how it's just like really smooth and velvety looking, and it just looks like a very natural soft flush that gradually goes from like a darker shade to a lighter shade, and this is really perfect for creating it. And what I like about it is I've been buying all sorts of products from Korean cosmetics that can create that effect, but Korean cosmetics are not too adventurous when it comes to colors. So, you know, it's usually just pink, red, coral, and that's it. Well, NYX Cosmetics have like mauve and more interesting colors. And applying it is really a dream. I like it. It really feels like you're just dabbing it with your fingers. It feels smooth. It is slightly drying because it has a bit of a powdery finish, and you know, it is pretty matte when it finishes. So it's slightly drying. It does emphasize the lines on your lips a bit, especially if you have dry lips. So if you do have dry lips, it's not a good look. It will catch on it, so you do have to scrub your lips before. But I don't mind it. It's not that drying. Most of my matte lipsticks are more drying than this. So I find it very comfortable and I really like it. Oh, and that's this amazing like cotton candy vanilla scent that I just love. So it's really, really easy to build this up from like sheer to very pigmented. So it's amazing for creating ombre lips. I really love it. So in conclusion, I really love these Powder Puff Lippies. They're amazing and I'm really going crazy over them. I think this is my new favorite lip product because I really do like it. I've always loved the Korean petal lip sort of effect. Right now my favorite product for creating that effect is Peri Para's. But Peri Para and a lot of other Korean makeup brands, they don't come in adventurous colors, and that's why I like NYX more. Like these two shades, they're a bit harder to find in Korean brands. So I'm gonna buy out the entire store. I love these. These are amazing. So the moment we're waiting for, the answer to what highlighter and lipstick I'm using Glam Arcade. I'm using the gold and the white. And I'm also using Cool Intention. Anyway, thank you for watching the entire thing, and I'll see you next time. See you. Bye.